traveled to Europe for the first time in 10 years. First time in my wheelchair. How'd it go? Oh, hi. Thanks to my field of research in grad school, I was allowed to go on a funded trip to Amsterdam for a conference. My specific adventures in Europe are a topic for another day, but for today, I wanted to show you a little bit about what it was like getting there, getting around, and getting back, all in a wheelchair. In trying to get over there, it wasn't just me going. It was a full entourage of people. In addition to me, there were my two parents and my aide, Jessica. First off, we drove down to Houston so we could catch a direct flight to Amsterdam. So here we are, we're in Houston. We drove 3 hours, we're here. It's time to go to bed. We're getting up tomorrow, we're flying to Amsterdam. It's gonna be nuts. I'm going to bed, I'm tired. So we made it to the Houston airport. We're now ready for getting on the plane. First up, we gotta get in the manual chair and then onward and upward. Here we go. First, I transfer into a foldable manual chair. This lets my extra sets of hands break down my power chair so it's ready for flying. We take out everything we can, which isn't very much. We can take out the headrest, take off the cushion, and take out the footrests. The armrests are wired to the wheelchair, so we can't take them off, but we can take them out and pack them on top of the seat. The wheelchair has to go down into the cargo area of the airplane, so doing all this makes it easier for the handlers. It makes it so that they won't grab something that can break off, and it also makes it so they're not tempted to drive the wheelchair and probably break it. Once everything's taken off and the armrests are bubble wrapped and taped to the wheelchair, it's ready to go. A handler takes the wheelchair, uses a little brute force to get it across the terminal, down an elevator and over to the plane, and up into the cargo area. With my power chair all taken care of, I then get pushed down in my manual chair to the entrance of the plane a little bit earlier than everyone else. Once I get pushed down to the entrance of the plane, I then get two handlers of my own that lift me from the manual chair over into this aisle chair. After we get me on the aisle chair and all strapped in, we then pack up my manual chair, which is a lot easier than my power chair, and we wheel me onto the plane in the aisle chair. Then my two handlers again lift me right out of the aisle chair and into my airplane seat. We get me situated and then I'm ready to go. Now that I was on the plane, it was another 10.5 hours to Amsterdam, and that's about as exciting as you might think it is. The flight was long and cold. They're blasting the air conditioning in here like it's nobody's business. Freezing. Thank God I brought a hoodie sweatshirt. Long flight. Our plan when we landed in Amsterdam was to take a train that went right by our hotel. Well, apparently, if you want to ride the train in Amsterdam in a wheelchair, you have to give them like 4 hours notice, preferably 2 days, so they can get some person out of a closet to put a ramp out for you to get on the train. Who knew? We're at Amsterdam's Central Station, where all the trains and trams come around. We use a lot of the trams to get around the city. One came right by our hotel for the conference and to our new hotel, and they're all, or mostly accessible. They just pull out a ramp and let you on. As long as this landing pad is big enough, you can get on and off. Perfect. All right. Overall, the tram was a great way to get around. After lots of searching, I was never able to narrow down an accessible van to drive around the country. We wanted to explore the countryside and also venture into Belgium perhaps, but without a van that was a little bit tough. So instead what we did was the second week after the conference, we rented a regular car, and with the help of Jessica, we transferred me into the front seat, carted my manual chair around, and did a little exploring on our own.
We are now trying to get David into the car, first time ever.
Outside the basement of the hospital.
From the manual chair to the Volvo. Should be interesting.
The car, kinda. I thought the Dutch were tall. Yeah, I don't fit, but
The seat's all the way back.
We're gonna sardine me in here for a little trip and see how it goes. Okay. Okay. Hey, I'm in. I'm ready to go. Let's get this going at 260 kilometers an hour. After Amsterdam, we traveled to Frankfurt to get a little bit more of a change of scenery. Getting on the train to Frankfurt, there's one accessible handicapped seat on the train, and we've got people here that we ordered at least 4 hours ahead of time to make sure they get the ramps onto the train. Kind of a crazy ordeal to get there, but it'll be fun. Up the elevator we go. The elevator traveled up to the train platform, where my ramp and helpers eagerly awaited my arrival. Here's the ramp in the background. That's how they plan for my accessibility. A little different than the US, but at least it's accessible, right?
Get almost anywhere on any train, just have to give them 3 hours notice and they haul out the ramp.
When my uniformed personnel unfolded the ramp for me to board the train, we found out why they don't let just anyone set this up. It was something of a red carpet entrance. Pretty fancy. The train had first and regular class seats, both pretty spacious, definitely enough room for me and my wheelchair. And here's our nice handicapped section. And move it. Alright. The train was fast, smooth, quiet, all I could really ask for. After about 3 hours of seeing countryside and a few occasional stops, we arrived in Frankfurt. The ramp on the Germany side was different. Unfortunately, we missed a little bit of the footage here, but what happens is Mr. Dude pumps up the ramp to the train level, lets me on, wheels it away a little bit, and then pumps it back down, lets me off. Piece of cake? Now usually one plane flight is no different from the next, so I wouldn't have any reason to describe what happened on the way home. But this time it was different, so I want to show you a little bit about that. I'm on the last leg of the trip, going from Frankfurt back to Houston. And so far so good, a little bit more interesting this time. We gotta take a bus going from the gate to the plane somewhere else. But they assure me it's gonna be okay. And I hope it's okay. But it'll be fun either way. First they took me downstairs to get on the bus, like before, earlier than everyone else.
On the bus, going to the plane. Step 2.
A little loud down here, but we have the whole bus to ourselves. Check it out!
This is the forklift that's going to get David to the airplane. It's going to be very interesting.
What we liked calling our forklift came down exactly to the level of the bus floor. I was able to drive right on and into the indoor area of the forklift bus thing. This is where we waited while it positioned next to the plane.
Wow.
So now we're inside the lift, going up. There goes our bus over there. And we're gonna get me up to the plane and put me in the side of the plane.
Right up to the plane. They're going to bring us right up to the door.
This handy photo next to my head shows an external view of what was happening. I was transferred to the aisle chair like on the other flight, and then I was carted in like the terrible chicken, parmesan, lasagna, meatloaf meals they bring in this side of the plane. My entourage followed me into the plane, and that was that. This process required easily 3 times the total airport personnel, so it's really a good thing it's not a frequent occurrence. Being all strapped into the plane, it was time for the next ridiculously long flight back to the US. All in all, a successful trip to Europe. Fade to black. You stay classy, Internet.
Go, Tinder.
I'll be the same when it all goes up. I'll be the same when it all goes down. Not the first one